Gamers, version 3.0 of Honkai Star Rail is just around the corner, and we have a lot of characters to talk about when it comes to the Herta banner, and if you should summon for the Herta. Now, I have my own thoughts on this, especially when it comes to, just in general, like, using money to summon for these characters. Like, the biggest one, again, everybody who's summoning, I understand the want to use money, but using money is never always a good thing, never always. You get what I'm trying to say. If you're going to spend money on a character, spend wisely. But at the same time, don't put yourself in a very bad financial state. Just saying. But without any further delay, let's go ahead and talk about some of these characters. Now, first things first, I'm going to talk about Natasha. Now, Natasha is a healer. And at the beginning of the game, she was a really, really good healer, right? Very much worth your time and investment. However, with the new additions of, Lynx and Gallagher, there's not really much else that you have to say about Natasha except for she's kind of in the past, right? Like she's definitely not doing as well as other healers. But she's still relatively decent. Like if you're just starting the game, like throughout the entire game, right? Outside of end game content, Natasha is going to be good. Like Natasha will actually do what she needs to do. However, when it comes to end game content, she's not going to be as good as the others, right? So we got Pridewin's tier list right here. Natasha in, I think this is MOC, right? Yeah, MOC, she's tier 4. In Pure Fiction, she's tier 5. And in, what is it? Abyssal what? Apocalyptic Shadow. Abyssal, what was I thinking? Apocalyptic Shadow, she is tier 4. And for good reason, again, because you got other good healers like Lynx, like Gallagher, that outplay her in the 4-star range, followed by other healers in the 5-star range, like Linksha, like Huo, Luocha, and even Bailu right now, which is odd because before there was like this whole argument of should you go for a C or E6 Natasha or a E1 Bailu, and people would be like E6 Natasha, E6 Natasha. Does not look like the case anymore. It looks like Bailu is the go-to play, at least by Pridewin. I use both Bailu and Natasha. And I think they're both really good. So Natasha is going to be one of those characters that since she's been here since the beginning, it's a little bit tougher to be like, oh yeah, you should get her because you've probably already gotten her by now. But if you're new to the game, just starting out in 3.0, if you do get Natasha, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? So I'm just saying Natasha's kind of a down, like thumbs down. If you're gonna go for a 4-star healer, you usually want to go for somebody like Lynx or Gallagher. Speaking of characters that have been here since the beginning and might be a little bit outdated, Asta. Now, Asta was, again, really good at the beginning of Honkai Star Rail. Like, you could do so many great things with her, being able to, like, let me pull up her freaking... Blah, blah, blah. I'm losing my mind right now. Her skill, being able to, like, deal fire damage was pretty cool. But it was her ultimate that really helped out with a lot of players, especially if you didn't have somebody like Bronya. Now, Asta increased your speed by 50 for 2 turns. Now, for a 4-star, it's very basic, but works really, really well. Now, Asta is now outpaced by a lot of characters. We can go in here and let's see if we can find her real quick. Is she an amplifier? Yeah, she would be amplifier, wouldn't she? Yep. So she is a tier 2 right now, which is actually higher than I expected, surprisingly. But she's a buffer. But you already have like other buffers that do amazing things. Like 4-star Ting Yun, still one of the best characters in the game, in my personal opinion. One of the best 4-stars in the game, also. But that's the only one that outplays her in the buffing field, I think. When you look at like other buffers, right? You have your Sparkles, you have your Bronias, like I almost said imaginary, my bad. Well, yeah, imaginary Harmony, Traveler. I'm out of my mind right now, okay? But there's so many other characters right now that are 5-star characters when it comes to like support or amplifiers that you should be looking into comparatively. So when you look at Asta and you're like, oh man, I just got Asta, like she's good, but she's definitely not going to be somebody that you're going to be like jumping up and down for. I am very surprised that Pridewin's putting her at T2. Again, very very shocked, but again, like there's not really many 4-stars to go around. the only 4-star that's beating her is Tingyun. So ultimately, with Asta being here for so long, I'm gonna have to give it a thumbs down because again, if you're new to the game, she's gonna be great at the start, but you're gonna want to replace her really, really quick. If you have been playing this game for a long time, you already have her, so there's no point in like really putting in time and effort into getting her. So there's that. Moza. Moza is one of those characters that I don't have a lot of experience in. However, I think that he's okay. What I've seen from him and what I've been able to play with him is that he's not bad. He's basically going to operate along the lines of like a Topaz or Dr. Ratio because he is part of the hunt and he does do follow-up attacks to random enemies. He's definitely good for a 4-star DPS character. Where did they put him? They put him tier 1.5 on MOC. Pure Fiction makes sense because Pure Fiction, you want to use more erudition units or just in general units that are going to hit multiple enemies. And then tier 1 in Apocalyptic Shadow. Man, I really should build him if he's rated that high. Because personally for me, right, I haven't used him. I haven't had the ability to build him. I've been having a hard time trying to finish building Sunday, and Fugue's done, but finishing Sunday has been a chore, right? I'm just not getting lucky. But yeah, very surprised to see that he's high up there, but then again, also not because, again, it seems like he's able to do a lot in general. I don't mind single target DPSs. I think single target DPSs are good, especially for MOC. I haven't used them in Apocalyptic Shadow as much. Maybe I should. Maybe I should stop being a fucking weenie hunt general. You know what I mean? But definitely, yeah, I would say Moza is decent to go after because if you think about it as well, Moza hasn't been out for that long, so unless you summon like crazy to get an E6 of him, it's best for you to get the E6 because again, like he's still really good. He goes up to tier 1 in MOC as an E6 and then tier 0.5 for Apocalyptic Shadow, which is bonkers for a 4-star unit. If we look at Apocalyptic Shadow, right, let's take a look. Apocalyptic Shadow only has 3 units that are 4 stars that are in the 0.5 range. These are the highest that the 4 stars have gone, and that's honestly crazy that it's March 7th, the Hunt, Gallagher, which Gallagher is absolutely bonkers everywhere he goes, and then you have Moza. So Moza gets a solid up from me. I think that he is worth it as one of the 4-star characters. Comparatively to Asta and Natasha, it makes a lot of sense to go for him. Now let's talk about Herta. The Herta, mind you. Now, the Herta, obviously we don't know just yet. Like, we've gotten showcases before about her, and we only know a little bit about her. I'll go into a tiny bit of details, because again, I feel like there's other people like Braxophone that goes into the Herta a lot better than I ever could. Like, big shout out to Brax. So, basically, she gets these stacks called Interpretation. Yeah, Interpretation. And what these do is it's going to be solid damage that happens when they're applied to the unit, right? She has a skill that basically inflicts 1 stack of Interpretation, and I think it's like all attacks that are skill or ultimate based from your characters are going to inflict Interpretation in some way, shape, or form. Now, what's really cool is that she also transfers stacks of Interpretation to prioritized bigger units, so like a boss or somebody who has a lot more health or anything like that. She transfers all the stacks up there and then literally it's weird that I'm like, and literally but she does 250% of her own attack to all enemies that are inflicted with the Interpretation. It's pretty cool because it's one of those things with the Herta that I think could be beneficial to a lot of players and their teams. Like, she benefits from having another erudition unit on her team, so you could run the Herta and her puppet right next to her and be able to just do freaking ice erudition damage like crazy, and they work really, really well. So she's going to synergize really well with your Hertas, your Himikos, all the other stuff. And erudition teams have been getting a lot of praise because of Pure Fiction, obviously, and they're needed there. So it's really, really cool to see erudition units get that buff from her. So if you're a fan of playing an erudition team and you really want to boost it up a lot, she's going to help in many, many ways. So I think that she's worth it in that regard. However, if you're not going for Erudition teams, if you already got like Rappa and Jade and all these other ones, and your Himiko and Herta are really built up, I don't think the Herta is going to be that big of an addition, but will be a great addition to your team, especially as we move forward in 3.0. I do think that power creep will play a role, and I think that she might be one of those units that could very well make Erudition power creep happen. Again, I'm not saying that power creep is going to make it so no unit can be used. I'm just saying that there's going to be a difference between using a 4-star Herta and a 5-star the Herta comparatively. There's going to be a difference between running Jade and the Herta, right? So, and I do believe that the Herta has a lot of potential to really help out your teams. So, overall, I would say Herta is a plus up for me. I think that she's going to be really, really good to summon for. However, I do continuously say these games are very predatory when it comes to the power creep hole situation. Understand that this is gambling. And if you are rolling for these characters, use your free currency. Like, be smart about it. Don't be like me spending money on every single banner. I do that so you guys don't have to. So, but I would definitely say that the Herta is worth your current Stellar Jades if you got them. So let me know in the comments down below if you're going to be summoning for the Herta. Like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful good stuff. And as always, y'all, I will see you in the next video. Please take care and be safe.